Welcome back to the Daily Nugget, Daily Property Insights, one topic, 20 minutes or less. Myself, Lawrence Lotze, and today joined by Raj Maharjan, a former Auckland City Town Council town planner. And Raj, with all the stuff we're talking about, the changes to the Auckland Unitary Plan and everything else, there's been a bit of a noise or a piece in the media a lot lately about this 3x3. Fundamentally, three townhouses, 3 levels high on property, but the thing that's catching a lot of people's eyes or ears about it is I'm able to do this without Auckland Council's permission or consent. Can you talk to me about this? Is this correct, or where are we missing this clarity from?
Yeah, very important question, Lawrence. Now, the 3x3 development is not only townhouse. You could have 3 freestanding houses, or two like a duplex and 1 in isolation. In the Unitary Plan language, they're called dwellings. So it's 3 dwellings. Could be any typology, any type, right? So 3x3 development is that situation, 3 dwellings up to 3 level. Could be 2, it could be 1. So 3 levels and 3 dwellings. And that, what we are hearing, or the general perception is that is going to be permitted. Yes, that is the rule. That will be permitted, given, here's the catch, given you comply with all rules, all other rules. And that is going to, say you comply with all other rules, that will be a permitted activity. That means you don't need a resource consent, but there is another consent under building code, that is the building consent, which is separate. You will, of course, need building consent, right? That is where you look at the structure, everything in detail. And let us focus on the resource consent part. Say, for example, we went for a 3x3 development and it is all permitted. But you might want to subdivide, right? You might not want to retain all 3 houses in your section. As soon as you go for a subdivision, that triggers a resource consent. So yes, your building, the structure, resource consent doesn't apply. But as soon as you subdivide, you will need a resource consent. There is a rule at the moment. It requires a certain type of resource consent, which is called restricted discretionary resource consent for any subdivision. Going forward, the Resource Management Amendment Act has said the 3x3 development will require a controlled activity resource consent, which is slightly easier in general resource consent. But what will happen if you have 4 dwellings instead of 3? Right? 3x3 is permitted, yes, but Lawrence might want to build 4 because your section gives. That is a unknown at this stage. We will find that out on August 20 when the Auckland Council will notify the Unitary Plan changes. Does that answer the question?
Oh, it totally does. And so just to come back to it, so to anyone that's listening, if you're doing 3x3 and not changing, I'm going to keep it real simple. If you're doing 3x3 and not changing the use of the land, so you're not changing it, so you're not subdividing it, you're just keeping it stored in a solid block. No, you do not need resource consent, as long as what you're doing is to the expectations as if you were going to go for resource consent. You build in the right height, the right width, the right percentages of land use that you would do. You no longer need resource consent. Now, some people are going to, this is a real interesting one, because I know developments at the moment that are in the news that are waiting 12 months for resource consent, or even longer, and small developers, mom and dads, are falling over due to this timepiece before you even hit the building consent. But you still need building consent from that. And it's an interesting one that Roger, you spoke about, that if you cut it up, or if you go outside the box, you will then trigger the likelihood of a resource consent needed out there. So you can't just go 3x3 and think you can cut it up 3 times into 3 separate sections and go, cool, I don't need resource consent. You still need resource consent then, if you're going to then cut up that land.
You touched a very interesting one there, Lawrence. Say, for example, the permitted situation is where you meet the height requirement, height in relation to boundary, yard, everything, right? But say, for example, if I have a floodplain on my side, that is going to require resource consent. Say I have a geotechnical issue, that is going to require a resource consent. Say I am building a say retaining wall higher than 1.5 meters, that is going to trigger resource consent. So there are Other than the residential standards, the rules, there are many other factors which come into play, and those might trigger your resource consent. And we touched upon the subdivision situation already.
Yeah. And I mean, in Auckland, I'm guessing finding a perfectly flat section outside of a floodplain with no need of retaining might be, more scarce in trying to find an available quarter acre, right? Because unfortunately, where we live, in Auckland or over in New Zealand, we've got everything sloping, going up and down. We've got floodplains, we've got subsidence, land movement, all that sort of stuff. So as much as it seems like great, no resource consent, I think you might find that your options to go down that path, but it's not as easy or as many properties as you might think from the beginning.
Yeah, it's not straightforward. That's why, out of all the resource consents in council, you look at the database, more than 90% require resource consent, which trigger by one or other reasons.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Thanks for that, for confirming that, Raj. And for everyone else, hope you enjoyed that. And thanks for coming over to the Daily Nugget, Daily Property Insights.
Thanks for having me.
Always.
Cheers.
20 minutes or less. And as always, hope to see you tomorrow.